Norris Series is thundered across the Kansas Plains for the inaugural running of the Luke Oil 250 from beautiful Heartland Park in Topeka. Hi, everybody. I'm Ralph Shaheen. Welcome to Team Net Motorsports coverage of the NASCAR Winston West Division. This is really just a West Coast version of NASCAR's hugely popular Winston Cup class. Now, coming into this race, we've had 4 races already in the 98 season and 4 different winners, including series points leader Kevin Harvick and Winston Cup star Ken Schrader, who is here today as well. Now, with more on this unique layout, here's my colleague in the booth for our coverage today, Mark Allen.
Ralph, as you know from announcing ASA races here at Heartland Park, Topeka, this is an unusual road course. It runs counterclockwise, in other words, the same direction as oval races. Another unusual facet is it's a half-mile front straightaway using the NHRA drag strip that's here. As drivers move toward turn 1, they'll be carrying speeds of somewhere between 140 and 150 miles per hour. It is one of the most challenging turns in this layout, even for drivers who have been here before with the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. The big difference is Winston West cars weigh 3,400 pounds. That's a good bit heavier than they're used to. Now let's go to the pits and Bill Hennessy.
It's a beautiful day here at Heartland Park. It is windy, though. Sitting on the front row of today's race, Sean Woodside, 18 starts and 3 victories. That is phenomenal for any driver in any series in 18 starts. Can you win here this afternoon?
We got a good shot. We got Dennis Fisher doing the motors, and Pontiac underneath us with Golden West Motorsports preparing it, and Gordy doing the transmissions, and Roger doing the rear end. The Hoosiers got a pretty good tire here, and I definitely learned a lot from Kevin the last couple days here practicing. So we learned a few tricks, and I think we got a good shot at the win.
What effect will the wind play?
Not a lot. It'll just slow the car down at the end of the straightaway a little bit, and maybe save a little brakes for us.
The driver starting on the pole position is Kevin Harvick. Kevin has led the first 4 races of the season. Race number 5, you're on the pole. You got to feel pumped up.
Well, I tell you, this Spears Chevy's been good since we got here, and my hat's off to the crew. But, you know, there's some tough competitors in this field. You got a couple guys that have been here before. You got Ken Schrader, and Woodside looks pretty tough in practice, so it's going to be a good race.
Are you concerned about the wind?
Not really. I mean, it's just going to move around a little more, but other than that, it shouldn't be a problem.
Can you win this race?
Oh, I think we have a good chance, but like I say, you know, there's a good field of cars here in the Winston West Series.
Well, it's almost race time here at Heartland Park in Topeka, Kansas.
Thanks, Bill. Now it's time to turn those big throaty V8s over so we can get down to the racing portion of the show. Representing Luke Oil to do the honors, Boris Kaligan.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
All right, Boris, way to fire them up. Well, Mark Allen, this is the first road course of the season for the Winston West cars. We've had 4 races and 4 different winners. Is this going to be the track that gives us the first repeat winner of the year?
I think there's every possibility of it. Ken Schrader won the last outing, and he is a road race veteran here at Heartland Park, Topeka. So if I was a betting man, that's where I'd put my money.
Of course, I've seen you bet, and I wouldn't follow you anywhere on the table. Ken Schrader has been here with ASA and ARCA, so you just never know. Cars are rolling off the grid. We'll be back for the green flag from Heartland Park right after this.
So, who's going to be our next couple? Let's boogie! And tonight's winner gets dinner on the house!
Here in the Outback, nothing brings out our hunger to compete like a juicy steak and a bloomin' onion. At Outback Steakhouse, we know nothing starts an evening off on the right foot like a great steak. Outback Steakhouse. No rules, just right.
This is one of those new Volvos with all-wheel drive, right?
Yes. It's our newest safety feature, designed to help keep you out of an accident.
So how come you don't put it on all your cars?
All our cars.
Like Subaru does.
Subaru.
Every Subaru we make comes with the safety of all-wheel drive. Every wagon, every coupe, every sedan.
So only one Volvo has all-wheel drive, but they all have cup holders.
Yeah.
Subaru, the beauty of all-wheel drive.
Hi, I'm Art Drysdale, and this is the Garden Claw. Using spades, forks, or cultivators can be back-breaking. The Garden Claw has a patented design that virtually eliminates bending and lifting. Turn the handles and the steel tines corkscrew down into all soils, even clay. It's perfect for mixing in peat and fertilizer, and it's ideal for working around plants and shrubs. The Garden Claw is backed by a 100% guarantee. look for this display.
Available at Kmart and participating Ace, True Value, HWI, and Service Star.
The look of trucks customized with Lund accessories. Like their owners, no two are alike. Running boards, hood shields, bed covers, and more. No matter what make or model you own, Lund accessories will make your truck as different as you are. Lund, you've got an attitude. So should your truck. Watch your favorite stars at the Lund Look 275 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race, August 23rd at Heartland Park, Topeka. For ticket information, call 1-800-43-RACES.
Welcome back to Heartland Park in Topeka, Kansas. Getting set for the inaugural running of NASCAR Winston West Lukoil 250K. It will be a 74-lap affair around the 2.1-mile road course. Good for 155 miles of competition. Here's the grid for today's Lukoil 250. On the pole in the Spears Motorsports Chevrolet Monte Carlo, qualifying in 1 minute 26.199 at 87.7 miles an hour. Car number 75 out of Bakersfield, California, Kevin Harvick. Alongside out of Saugus, California, the 1-800 cleanup 76 Lubricants Pontiac Grand Prix, Sean Woodside, the 07. In row number 2 on the inside out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, the Dana Victor Rhines Eleanor Motorsports Chevy Monte Carlo, number 60, Lance Norrick. And Winston Cup star Ken Schrader in car number 52, the Lukoil Bud Chevrolet Monte Carlo.
Starting on the inside of row 3 will be Scott Gaylord in the 00 car. He calls Lakewood, Colorado home, and he'll be driving the Oliver Gravity Separators Chevy Monte Carlo. Starting in the 6th spot from El Cajon, California, will be Austin Cameron driving the number 12 car, sponsored by Neil Electric, Mark Hahn, and he's driving a Chevy Monte Carlo as well. Starting in the 7th spot, car number 16 is Gary Smith from Malahat, British Columbia in the Napa Martin Sonor Tribatech Chevy Monte Carlo. And in the 8th spot, Brandon Ash calls Umpqua, Oregon home. He'll be driving car number 23, the Ash Motorsports Ford Taurus.
In slot number 9 is the Mission Foods Pro Insulation Ford Thunderbird, the first T-Bird in the field. Anaheim, California's Butch Gilliland in car number 1. Kevin Richards, who towed all the way from Spokane, Washington, will be up next in position number 10, car 85, the Monaco Enterprises Penske Racing Shocks Chevy Monte Carlo. The next row, Tony Toast out of Pismo Beach, California, in the Ron's Rear Ends LTR Chevy Monte Carlo. Another Chevy Monte Carlo, the MBN Neo Oil Mechanics Wear Deast Chevy of Jerry Kane out of Canyon Country, California. Car 71 lines up alongside.
On the inside of row 7 will be number 2, Craig Rodman from Redding, California, driving the Advantage Memory Chevy Monte Carlo. Starting next to him on the outside of row 7 will be Jeff Davis in car number 4. He hails from Anaheim Hills, California, driving the Ultra Shield Ford Thunderbird. Starting 15th will be Kelly Tanner from Woodinville, Washington, car number 40, the Yoshida's Tanner Racing Products Pontiac Grand Prix. And in the 16th spot, in car number 55, Bo Lemler from Chula Vista, California, the Legacy Motorsports Pontiac Grand Prix.
Ron Burns will start 17th, car 26 out of Phoenix in the Arizona Sport Truck Ford Thunderbird. Wayne Jackson, position 18 out of Las Vegas, car number 89, the Jax Motorsports Chevy Monte Carlo. Next row, row 10, Bob Howard out of Colorado Springs, Colorado, the Aristocrat Front Range Bowles Realty Chevy Monte Carlo. That's car 02. Pappy Pryor, 66 years old, out of Priest Lake, Idaho, car number 6, Panhandle Racing Chevy Monte Carlo, position 20.
And contrast him in position number 21 with 18-year-old Jeff Streeter in car 88 from Brawley, California. He's in the D&H Auto Body Ford Thunderbird. In the 22nd spot, it's Ron Jacks, car number 43 from Las Vegas, Nevada, the Quick Pick Motorsports Chevy Monte Carlo. Starting in the 23rd spot is Blair Aiken from Lakeport, California, car number 69, the Airport Auto Broker Chevy. The 24th spot, Eric Nordis in car 32 from Dallas. And shotgun on the field, the ageless one, Herschel McGriff.
And the field coming out of that final corner to take the green flag as we get set for 74 laps, 155 miles. NASCAR Winston West making its inaugural debut at the beautiful Heartland Park racetrack. The Lukoil 250 underway. Fighting their way into that tight first corner after running up through the gears and taking the lead is the points leader, Kevin Harvick, in car 75, the white and blue machine. Down hard onto the brakes. Swinging wide is Woodside. And it looks like, Mark, he might give up a spot to Lance Nork in the black 60.
Yeah, it looked like he charged that corner just a little bit too hard, and that's something that a lot of these drivers will be watching early on, simply because they're not used to heavy cars on this kind of a road course.
Something Nork's had a little bit of experience with, running in the Craftsman Truck Series. Boy, look at the lead already opening up here for Harvick.
A huge advantage as they head into the S's. This will be turns 5, 6, and 7 on this 11-turn road course.
Now, there's some question about that, too. Some guys say 12, some guys say 11, kind of like the road course version of Nazareth.
And we're going to go with what the drivers say. They're the ones who matter in this case, and they're saying it's an 11-turn course. There's a set of S's right there leading back onto the drag strip portion. Well, we talked about at the top of the show, it's a half a mile in length, and they'll be pushing their highest speeds just before they get to the markers at the end of this front straightaway.
Drafting will definitely come into play here today down this very long front straightaway. Running in 4th position is Scott Gaylord, the Lakewood, Colorado driver, in 00. That's the white and red car. 4th in line.
And already the field has sorted itself out in good order. I think that was one of the questions that everybody had based on practice and qualifying. There were a number of incidents and off-road shunts, and several drivers got their cars put back together. But as you saw Harvick just go off course here for a second, there is not a lot of margin for error on this track.
Winding their way back around to complete another lap. Of course, we're going for 74 laps here today. Second place man Lance Nork has competed in 3 out of the 4 Winston West Tour races so far this year. Earlier today, we caught up with him and asked him about his plans for the 98 Tour.
I mean, we've been doing probably we're going to do 8 or 9 of these Winston West races, and it's good fun. And we're going to be racing Topeka here in the trucks later on this summer, and it's good seat time for me. We also did California, which we'll also do the trucks, so it's more for seat time for me and for the team to learn some of these tracks.
Lance's Craftsman truck team is sponsored by the National Hockey League, and he and his dad also own the truck that Butch Miller drives on the Nascar Craftsman Truck Tour.
There's car number 12. That is our 5th position car. That's Austin Cameron out of El Cajon, California.
He was our top qualifier among the rookies. Almost half this field is rookie drivers, most of whom have never seen this road course before, and it was quite an education for them going around here for the first time Friday afternoon. Some off course, some in the weeds, and some had mechanical problems. And Ralph, that's something we're going to watch closely here, because the equipment will take punishment on a road course, particularly for drivers who may not have that much experience in this type of a car.
Well, the good thing about coming to Topeka, if it's the first time you've ever been on a road course, in most parts of this track, you're going to slide all the way to Leavenworth before you hit anything. Now, Mark, we're coming back around onto the very long front straightaway, part of the NHRA's drag racing tour, one of the more popular stops. Great for record runs here. Good air and a great concrete launching pad. Give us a course description as we watch these cars snaking their way around this 2.1-mile road course.
And that is the battle for third we're watching there. They come onto the main straightaway, which is the NHRA drag strip. You notice they're running down the center of the strip. They're trying to get to the concrete itself because the rubber where the NHRA folks has been laid down a little bit slippery. That's turn 1. They'll go from 4th gear down to 3rd there. There's a sweeper to 2 as Norrick goes to the inside. And Ralph, we have got a change for the lead as the Oklahoma City driver has taken the top spot.
Boy, that was an aggressive move too, Mark. Down hard under braking, now making his way through the left at turn 3.
Now, that's a tight turn. Now they're going to go back up the hill. This is turn 4, and it's actually a blind spot. As they climb the hill, they have no reference point. This will be a short straightaway as they head into a chicane, which is turn 5. They'll downshift right through this portion of the racetrack, and then they'll sweep to the left. They'll make a quick move back to the right for turn 6. Back up through the gearbox, across the rumble strips, turn 7. And it looks like we may have a car that's gone off the track, the 89 of Wayne Jacks. Yes, that is not surprising. That car has not been up to speed since the start of the race. Looks like he's got some serious mechanical difficulties on that entry.
And after you wind through that bit of S's underneath the bridge, you dump back out on the front straightaway. Your 2.1 miles is complete. You rumble all the way down the front straightaway and start it all over again. Norick in the spot where he took over the lead, this time leads the field through.
For those of you not familiar with Winston West cars, as Ralph mentioned at the top of the broadcast, they're just like the Winston Cup cars with just a couple of exceptions. They run 9.5 to 1 compression ratio engines, and there are 2 different tire brands in the series, Goodyear and Hoosier. So far this season on the scorecard, Goodyear's got 3 victories, Hoosier 1.
In fact, Mark, most of these cars started life as a Winston Cup car. In fact, Bo Lemler driving a car that was one of Johnny Benson's Bahari racing machines.
In fact, he has 4 Bahari cars in his stable. Several of them have been damaged through the course of the year, and he was being kind of careful with this one here. But it's a smart move to tiptoe around this course. These cars, remember, are weighing at least 3,400 pounds, and then they add the driver. The heaviest car most of these men have ever competed in before might be a 2,900-pound all-pro car, as 1 or 2 of the drivers did here last year. So this is 500 pounds more, and figuring out the braking point has been the biggest challenge for almost everybody. Back onto the front straightaway once again. As we mentioned, they're trying to stay in the middle portion just coming off the turn as they start to hit the gas again so they don't wiggle or break the tires loose. And we've got a spin. It looks like Ron Burns has gone off the back part of the course.
The 26 car, Ron Burns out of Phoenix, Arizona, gets himself back up onto the racetrack in the Arizona Sport Truck Thunderbird. Now, look at this, a 3-car fight for the lead, Mark.
And if you charge that first corner too hard, you can wash out just a little bit and open the door. Harvick saw it for a moment, but it wasn't a big enough opening to take the spot.
Woodside in the 07, Sean Woodside, the blue and yellowish car, in third, closing in on the lead pack.
And the top 5 cars, Ralph, still pretty close together, given the fact that we've got about 10 or 11 laps on the scoreboard, and there's such a wide level of experience difference between these guys. For instance, Scott Gaylord in the 4th spot's been racing road race courses since the mid-'80s.
Oh, Mark, we got a problem here. The 88 of Jeff Streeter out of Raleigh, California, off course, but he has got the motor fired up on that white and blue Thunderbird, and he's bringing it back out onto the track. Well, from one extreme to the other here, Streeter's just 18 years of age. Well, earlier today, our Bill Hennessy caught up with a guy who's 66 years of age, but feels awfully young at heart when he straps into his Winston West car. Here's Happy.
Well, I love racing, and I really believe the Winston West program is going to really get up and go now. Be some, big time, similar to the Cup racing.
Why Winston West? Why didn't you race some other division? This sure seems like you're starting off at almost the top of the scale.
Well, I've raced down the other end of the scale too, and I think the one thing I like driving these bigger cars than the heavier cars. I've tried the tour cars and lightweight cars, and I just prefer these.
How old are you?
I'm 66, 67 in June.
Does anybody ever tell you, gee, don't you think you're a little old to do that? And what's your general reaction psychologically about when a person says that?
Well, George Jefferson told me that when I was 45. I was getting a little old, but my reaction is as long as my reactions are good and I'm enjoying it, the number of years age doesn't mean a thing to you.
And Pappy Pryor bringing the red number 6 down pit road. And the crew taking a look at it. There's Kenny Schrader in the Luke Oil Budweiser back 52. Mark, he hasn't had many laps in this car yet.
Ralph, I wouldn't call 4 laps a whole lot of practice either. He flew in from the Winston All-Star race Saturday night in Charlotte, just took those 4 circuits around the Heartland Park course, said that was enough, and now he's just working on shaking out the car at the moment. But given his track record here, we know he will be at the front at some point in this contest.
Schrader just getting situated with that race car. You can be sure he'll try to make a charge before the day is over. Battle for the lead is still a hot one. 3 guys having at it. Lance Norick in car number 60 is our leader, the black machine at the front of the field. Behind him, car 75, Kevin Harvick, the series points leader. And then the blue and yellow 07 of Saugus, California's Sean Woodside.
Right behind him continues to be Scott Gaylord. One of the things that surprises me, Ralph, is that Butch Gilliland, the man who has won the last 2 Winston West road races, has not been up on the leaderboard yet. He did not qualify particularly well in his Mission Foods entry. But the one thing he did do before the race, with the food sponsor, he fed a lot of people. And our crew,
including you.
Yeah, of course, our crew was down there. We always know where to go to find the food at a racetrack.
Just follow Mark. 2 Chevy Monte Carlos and a Pontiac Grand Prix at the front, and then another Chevy running in 4th, as that is a look at the top 4. It looks like Woodside doesn't get as good of a run down the straightaway.
Coming off that last S's turn, it's very important how the car takes the set. As we mentioned a few moments ago, there's a lot of rubber down as we see Jerry Kane in the 71 car coming in for an unscheduled pit stop. They're going to go to the left side and change rubber. To continue the thought that we had just a moment ago, Ralph, as you transition from the S's onto that front straightaway, there is a lot of rubber down from the NHRA portion of the launching pad. And if you don't get your tires set just right, the car can twitch. And as we know, how you run on the straightaway is set up by how you get off the corner.
Oh, and Norick goes off course, and that opens the door up for Kevin Harvick and Woodside to get by. And the 00 gets by as well, Gaylord.
And Austin Cameron went by, so that's 1st to 5th in one corner, one mistake, and that's how quick the complexion of racing can change on a road course.
The 12 of Austin Cameron out of El Cajon, California, in the Monte Carlo has been running back in 5th. He is now up to 4th, and we've got a new leader. The man that started on the pole, Kevin Harvick, in that Spears Motorsports Chevy, out front once again.
It was his 3rd pole of the year coming in, but his first road racing pole. And some of the more veteran drivers in the field, for instance, such as Scott Gaylord, said they're looking for mistakes to happen to move forward. 85 is Kevin Richards, and he's got a good battle going with Gary Smith. That's an interesting story, Ralph, that we'll develop. He has stepped into the car that Bill McAnally has driven up to this point in the season. McAnally in the top 10 in points, but decided to stop driving. Gary needed a seat and takes over. He's sitting 5th in the points, and this is a good battle for position on the track.
Boy, you can see the pressure being applied to Richards as he locked up the wheels on car number 85. That white, red, and blue machine, and that front end dancing as he comes off the corners. Well, this isn't the only section of racetrack where there's action. Action now in the pits once again. To Bill Hennessy with the story on Bo Lemler.
Bo Lemler in on the 55 car. Looks like they're on the left side, possibly a rear end problem. Looks like they've stuck an axle in. Change him out. He possibly broke an axle, and that's the reason he's in the pits right now, early in the going.
Way too early to be in the pits for that kind of problem. Before the race, we talked with Lemler for a few moments about his strategy on running a road course, given that he has some veteran experience in different divisions on these windy left and right turns.
The strategy today is, on this particular track, is save the brakes, because this is a hard braking track. So I think here we got 74 laps it is. I think we're running, stay on this lead lap, first 50 laps, go race in the last 24. Whoever's got the most brakes basically is going to win this race.
Here's that fight for about 8th, 9th, and 10th on the field. It's car 85, Kevin Richards, the 16 machine of Gary Smith, and the 23 of Brandon Ash.
Back up front, this is Kevin Harvick putting a lap on Jeff Streeter, who went off course just a moment ago. Also, Sean Woodside will move to his inside. This is moving into turn 3 and climbing the hill toward a fast short chute section.
And that's where they lose that perspective. There's really no good
reference point or landmark. Yeah, a lot of courses around the country will either have a tree or grandstands or something else that the drivers can line up on. But at Heartland Park, Topeka, as you can see, it's plains. A little bit different situation, so they've got to guess differently.
Norick working his way back up, gets around the 00 of Gaylord. Let's check back in with Hennessy on the Bo Lemler story.
Bo Lemler lost an axle. He actually sheared one apart. As we see, this part has been detached from that part. Hey, when you don't get any movement to the rear wheels, these cars don't go very far forward.
All right, Bill, thanks. There's Lance Norick in the 60 car trying to work his way back up into this fight for the lead as he had just gotten around Scott Gaylord. And he's got Streeter there who is fighting it out, not for position with Austin Cameron. That car, the 12 car, is the one that Norick is trying to catch next. Stay with for more TNN Motorsports coverage of the Lukoil 250 from Topeka.
Announcing the new Miller Lite Scratch and Sniff Fantasy Sweepstakes. If you can smell it, you can win it.
It smells like beef.
Smell beef and win 400 pounds of red meat.
You tiresome fool, it's obviously suntan oil.
Smell suntan oil and you win the grand prize. Be an extra on the Sports Illustrated swimsuit shoot.
Hi, Jimmy.
Score! Tell me about it.
See special displays for details.
Carolina once you've finished vacationing here. But one thing's for sure. North Carolina will never leave you. No one ever asks, do you want leafy greens with that?
I'll have a double cheeseburger, fries, and coffee.
Well, sometimes it's hard to eat right.
$95.
That's why GNC's Mega Men multivitamins have a complete combination of 41 vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, herbs, and other ingredients. Because recommended daily allowances almost never come to go. Mega Men multivitamins, exclusively at General Nutrition Centers. GNC, live well.
Tonight on TNN Motorsports, Texas Motor Speedway hosts the fastest cars in oval track racing, the Indy car. It's high speed on the high banks with lots of competition. Indy car racing, the way it should be. It's the Indy Racing League. Don't miss the True Value 500K live tonight at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. And it's only on TNN Motorsports.
Welcome back to Heartland Park, Topeka, Kansas. The yellow flag is waving for the first time in the Lukoil 250K, and the leaders are making their way down pit road, including the race leader right there, car number 75, Kevin Harvick.
He'll come to the attention of his crew led by John McQueen. Harvick's car is owned by Wayne and Connie Spears, and that is a veteran name in Winston West Racing. Bill Sedgwick, one of the many drivers that they've had, and virtually everybody they have put in that seat, Ralph, has driven to victory.
Mark, it's easy to say that the Spears name in Winston West is equal to the Allison or Petty family names in Winston Cup racing, not as far as drivers, of course, but as far as ownership of the team.
And in Winston West competition, under yellow, you're only allowed to change 2 tires without penalty.
So the pace car is out on the racetrack here. And the field will punch up back behind it. Looks like Pappy Pryor in the red number 6 will be the first car behind the pace car. Pappy uses his Social Security checks to buy his tires.
Now here's a fellow who lives in Idaho most of the year, but he has not been home since September. He's got a winter home down south, one of the snowbirds, if you will, because they do get a lot of snow up there in Idaho. But he says, well, I think I'll probably be going home in the next week or so. But, you know, we got a couple more races after this, so we'll just see what happens.
I just hope by the time I get to the age of cashing my Social Security check, my check will be big enough to be able to afford Winston West tires.
Well, Bill Hennessy is trackside with one of the special guests in today's race.
Boris Kalagian is involved with Lukoil. Lukoil's a Russian company. Surprisingly, they're in the heartland of America sponsoring a race. Why is that?
Well, as you maybe know, Lukoil is the biggest oil company of Russia, and we widen our activities in the United States as well. We already concluded a number of agreements with your Conoco, Arco, Texas Fuel, and we would like to show our flag here. So we're proud to be a sponsor of such an impressive car racing as we can here.
Can we expect a Lukoil team being fielded out of Russia?
Why not? I think next time some of our car racers will come here to take part in your contest.
It's going to be a rather interesting deal when the Russians show up with their own team sponsored by Lukoil. We're just seeing the beginning of the invasion, perhaps?
Well, maybe. Why not? I think that our countries are closer to each other, and we should be together in many fields.
Folks at Lukoil enjoying their involvement with the Winston West Series today. Heartland Park in Topeka.
A lot of people domestically don't know what Lukoil is, but they are the largest oil refiner in Russia. And their connection to this race is through Jay Lendrum, the new track owner who does business with the Lukoil people.
Earlier in the show, Bill Hennessy talked with Pappy Pryor, who is 66 years of age. Then he went and talked to a kid at the opposite end.
Jeff, we talked to many of the senior citizens on the Winston West Tour. You seem to be the young men on the other end of the spectrum. What do you think about racing against these guys who were racing well before you were born?
Well, it's fun, but you know, racing against people that are older and you've been doing it for a while, you'll be able to learn from what they do. So you can go out there and follow them around and see what they're doing, maybe can help you improve what you're doing. That's kind of what I'm going out there and doing, is trying to follow something like the Spears car or Schrader and follow them around and see what they do different than I do and try to learn from it.
When you race against these guys, is it a thrill or is it a job? What's your general reaction to being racing against guys who have such great name recognition?
That's kind of both. It's fun, of course, and it's also a business because you got to go out there and try to make money, otherwise you won't be able to do it anymore. But it's a lot of fun racing against these guys and hopefully be able to beat them, but if you can't, it's just racing. That's what happens.
And what a difference. 70-year-old Herschel McGriff and 18-year-old Jeff Streeter. Unfortunately, Herschel has had to park his car for the afternoon with mechanical problems. That's a team that's been plagued by problems all weekend, but McGriff has been around virtually as long as NASCAR itself and has run on every road course the Winston West Series has ever competed on in its 40-plus year history.
And car number 32 is a prolonged Super Lubricants Ford Thunderbird of Eric Norris, as we are still under yellow here at Heartland Park in Topeka, Kansas. The Lukoil 250K is underway, but we are under the first caution of the day. TNN Motorsports bringing you coverage of the NASCAR Winston West Series here today. Stay with us. We'll be back for more.
Working on my car more myself these days saves me money and keeps it running like I like. Performance is important to me, and that includes the cleanup. Scott shop towels on a roll give me the performance of cloth at a fraction of the cost of these. And Scott shop towels on a roll are so strong, I can use them again and again. So, no matter what it is you're working on, buy some Scott shop towels on a roll where you buy auto supplies. Performance of a cloth at a fraction of the cost.
Husky, the toughest name in tools. Guaranteed forever. Available at the Home Depot.
How geologist Ted Barton eats a Reese's Crunchy Cookie Cup.
First, I take a color sample. Next, I examine the strata. And then I digest the findings.
Chocolate, peanut butter, and a cookie. There's no wrong way to eat a Reese's Crunchy Cookie Cup.
Welcome back to Heartland Park in Topeka, Kansas. Ralph Shaheen along with Mark Allen and Bill Hennessy with you as we get set to go back to green for the Lukoil 250.
Green flag is back out, and Austin Cameron and Ken Schrader both decided to stay out on the speedway during that first yellow, and as a result, they're running at the front of the field.
That's Bo Lemler's yellow number 55, third car in line, but not third in the field.
And the fourth car in line is the green and yellow 26 of Ron Burns. The green is for Quaker State. The yellow, according to him, is for his Land Rover.
You can see Schrader really putting the heat on the 12 car now of Cameron. Remember, Kenny Schrader only had 4 laps of practice in this car this morning, flying in after competing in the Winston All-Star race in Charlotte last night. Scott Hansen, the ASA star, qualified the car and then went off to Bradenton, Florida for the ASA race this weekend. So, whoa, cars all over the place through these S's.
And everybody got back on course in one piece, but that's one of the trickier spots of the course. As Schrader used the rumble strips a second ago.
And Cameron off course.
And so the El Cajon, California driver gives up the lead. Second, third, fourth, and fifth go on by him. And that is the same spot before that Lance Norick went off track.
So Kenny Schrader, who normally drives for Andy Petrie in the Skoll-back Winston Cup car, today, leading here today in the Lukoil 250 and the Lukoil Bud-back Chevy number 52.
And getting back to Scott Hansen for just a second, we talked to Scott before the race, a veteran road racer who has some experience on this track, and he was a little bit sheepish about not having put this car on the pole, and he made the same comment that some other drivers have, Ralph. He's used to the lighter ASA cars, and he didn't make the necessary adjustments.
Well, that ASA car would weigh 2,800 pounds, and this a 3,400-pound beast. Let's check in with Bill Hennessy in the pits with Herschel McGriff.
Herschel, a short afternoon. What happened?
Engine, same problem as yesterday. So apparently we've got some mechanism between what we do to the engine and what the car does to it.
Certainly hasn't been the weekend that you wanted, has it?
No, I'd hoped to make a really good appearance here. It's a lot of good race cars out there, and I kind of wanted to end up in front. But I could tell, without much practice here yesterday, I could tell this morning, or with these cars, they all had me on the straightaways. And, usually if I can stay with them on the straightaway, I can maybe go around the corner a little faster with some of them. But anyway, we'll give it a whirl next time.
And the 32 car on and off the racetrack, that, of course, Eric Norris out of Dallas, Texas. There's Lance Nork in the 60 car trying to work his way back up into the hunt. And Cameron back out onto the racetrack after his on and off excursion just in front of Sean Woodside.
That's the battle that we'll be watching. As Woodside, a very fast car, has driven well in the early laps of this event, and he is putting pressure on the rookie from El Cajon, California, a family-owned operation. Cameron, a young man who has a number of go-karting national championships.
Kenny Schrader still the leader here today in the Luke Oil 250. Bo Lemler hanging on. Eddie Sharp, a ASA driver, phones in the setups to Bo Lemler, gives him an idea how to set the car up, tune the car up. They stay in phone contact over the course of the weekends with Lemler, and that's how Bo dials his car in.
Now, Woodside in the 07 is second in the series points, and he's got a good battle going with Kevin Harvick to show you a test of friendship and of camaraderie in this series. Woodside had never seen this track before. Harvick had. Harvick took him for laps around here, showing him what he had learned last year in the truck race.
And they ended up starting 1 and 2 on the front row today.
And Harvick is sitting in the second spot as Norick is trying to get around the Lemler car.
And that's Burns in the 26 car with Cameron right behind him.
And they're back in the S's. Those are our two lead cars. They'll be down to second gear or a tall first gear. It's interesting how each one of these drivers sets their cars up just a little bit differently, trying to decide whether they're going to get the bite coming off the turns or want the power at the end of the straightaway. And right there, coming off onto the main straightaway, Kevin Harvick, plenty of power and good bite to take the lead.
Huge horsepower mark as he just powers down that straightaway and opens up about a 2 to 3 car length lead over Schrader. And Schrader brings good equipment everywhere he goes.
But remember, there is a tire rule in the Winston West Series. They have 12 tires for the weekend, so they've got to be real careful about tire management. Harvick came in on that first caution. Schrader chose to stay out, so he's on much older tires, and it certainly showed there.
Well, it's really making a difference.
Exactly. What a margin that he has opened up as he heads into the chicane.
Well, as we mentioned, a lot of these cars have some history to them. One of those is Ron Burns' number 26.
Well, this is a car that I picked up from Robert Yates about a month ago. It's a late model T-Bird. It was one of the only cars he had that all three of his drivers had a win in. Davey Allison had a win in it, Ernie Irwin had a win in it, and Del Jarrett had a win in it.
Boy, that car's got so much history to it, I'm not sure you should race it. Maybe just restore it and put it in a museum.
Yeah, that's what's happening to a lot of race cars that are ending up in either places like the NASCAR Cafe or in collectors' museums. I'm real surprised that Yates gave the car up that way, but Ron Burns obviously has some good connections, and he may be a real good salesman, too.
Oh, problems here for the 4 car.
That's Jeff Davis in the Ultra Shield Thunderbird. In the cool-down lap of the final practice this morning, Ralph, they had a transmission fail, and it was a real crash getting that car back together. But those problems look real serious.
Yeah, big problems for Bo Lemler there, too. You can see the front end dancing around as Cameron got by. Lemler hauls the 55 down, gets you through the first few turns.
And there's a look at the back portion of the course, turns 2 and 3. Coming up, they're going to sweep around that corner. That's turn 3. Then they're going to start to climb up that hill. We've mentioned before that it's real hard to get a frame of reference, but they're coming back up through the gearbox, building up some speed, and every once in a while we'll see a couple of tires dip off, just like Lemler did, dip off into the dirt.
And there's a 4-car in the pits to get that smoking problem taken care of.
Jeff's crew chief is also his business general manager. Jeff owns a go-kart wheels business, a very successful one, and they're going to go underneath that Ultra Shield Ford. No matter what happens here, if he's able to return, he will be at least 1 lap down.
NASCAR official taking a peek underneath as well, making sure that nothing continues to leak.
And it doesn't look like they're entirely sure where the leak is coming from.
Woodside now has gotten around Bo Lemler as well, so the 07 has no lap traffic between him and Cameron, but everybody's smoking tires into the S's.
A lot of drivers said that turns 7 through 11, the S's leading to the main straightaway, was the trickiest part of the course. And it looks like in that sequence it was.
Look at this. Everybody freight training past Schrader.
3 wide, and looks like Norick takes the spot, continues to hold the spot with Cameron there, and Schrader looks like he can really use a pit stop.
And now the 32 machine into pit road as well. Eric Norris in.
That prolonged Ford comes to the attention of his crew. If the name is familiar, yes, that is the son of Hollywood actor Chuck Norris. And Eric Norris has been racing since the early 80s. He's been racing since 1981. A lot of experience in different forms of competition.
He's done a lot of Craftsman Truck Series racing as well. Stay with us. We'll be back with more from Topeka right after these words.
Friends, 10-3-2-1 has changed to 10-10-3-2-1, but nothing's really changed. You still save over AT&T on every call in the U.S. and still save 50% on every call over 20 minutes. There's no need to sign up. Just dial 10-10-3-2-1, then 1, then the number as usual. For me, it's the 50%, isn't it?
The look-up trucks customized with Lund accessories. Like their owners, no two are alike. Running boards, hood shields, bed covers, and more. No matter what make or model you own, Lund accessories will make your truck as different as you are. Lund, you've got an attitude. So should your truck. Watch your favorite stars at the Lund Look 275 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race, August 23rd at Heartland Park, Topeka. For ticket information, call 1-800-43-RACES.
It's life on the edge, pushed to the extreme. ASA Racing. The S stands for speed. The Palm Harbor Homes 300. Today at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on TNN Motorsports.
Homeowners, how would you like to have a beautiful garden
without the hard work and time wasted using hand tools?
Well, here's great news. It's the all-new Versatiller, the most versatile tiller on the market, and it's only from Troy-Bilt.
Call the toll-free number on your screen now to discover how the powerful rear-tine action of the Troy-Bilt Versatiller makes perfect seed beds.
And how the quick no-tools conversion changes the Versatiller into a front-tine tiller perfect for weeding in tight places. Plus, the Versatiller accepts a variety of landscaping tools, and it's backed by a limited lifetime warranty.
So whether you're building a vegetable garden or creating flower beds that are the envy of your neighborhood,
the Troy-Bilt Versatiller is the right tool for you.
Call now for free details on the all-new Troy-Built Versatiller, plus our special limited-time introductory offer now in effect. Call 1-800-705-5656. That's 1-800-705-5656. Call now.
TNN Motorsports bringing you the Lukoil 250K from Heartland Park in Topeka, Kansas today. It's NASCAR Winston West Series in action. Ralph Shaheen along with Mark Allen and Bill Hennessy bringing you the call. And our leader is that blue and white Spears number 75. That car belonging to Kevin Harvick, the series points leader. The black number 60 of Lance Norick chasing in second place.
And sitting in the third spot is Austin Cameron, the rookie contender who's giving a good account of himself. Right behind them is Ken Schrader, the Winston Cup regular, over from the Winston All-Star race last night. Behind him, the 07, the red and blue of Sean Woodside, our outside pole sitter, as they hit the main grandstands in the front straightaway.
Now it looks like Woodside going to blast right past Schrader. If you're just tuning in, the reason being all the cars in front of Schrader have pitted and taken on tires except for Kenny.
And I think Austin Cameron also stayed out in. If he has, which is the report we're getting, that is a very fine performance because the tires will give up here quickly. That's through turn 2. They're coming down now to the lowest portion of the course, turn 3. It's more than a 90-degree turn. They're all the way down to second gear, and they'll use the entire racetrack to climb the hill. That's more of the angle they get, Ralph, looking up that hill, that blind spot.
Down the back straightaway, and smoke continuing to pour out of car number 4, Jeff Davis, who's already been in and out of the pits with that problem. Looks like he'll be going back before the day's over.
That has to be of some concern for the drivers behind. They're wondering if he's laying fluid down in the speedway, so they may be tiptoeing through the chicane a little bit slower than normal.
You can see how the smoke billows up in front of our leaders as they just chase that trail of smoke, trying to catch up to Davis. Now here come those tight S's.
This is a spot that, depending on how they gear their car, they can very easily spin their tires. Most of the drivers will be in second gear through this portion. Then once they complete the apex of the turn right there to hit the drag strip portion of the track, that's when they'll start coming back up through the gearbox. I must say, Ralph, I'm very impressed with Kevin Harvick's performance to this point.
A lot of drivers come into this series from a lot of different areas. Earlier, we talked to Austin Cameron about how he made his way to Winston West.
I started out racing go-karts when I was about 10 years old. Raced go-karts, all various types, till I was about 19 years old, so 9 years of racing that. Then I transferred to the Skip Barber Road Racing Series in the Formula Ford. Ran that for 2 years, and then transferred over to a late model stock car that ran a series called the IRRA in Willow Springs, California. Raced there on a 2-mile track for 2 years, and then got into late model racing, and we transferred over to Winston West and trying to shoot for the Winston Cup one of these days.
Well, he's getting an education as well here today as he runs for the lead and maybe a win here today, the Lukoil 250. Kevin Harvick leads it. Lance Norrick runs in second. And then Austin Cameron.
Cameron's getting a lot of pressure from the 7 car of Kevin Woodside as Jeff Davis continues to lay a smoke screen in front of the leader. He doesn't appear to be laying any fluid on the speedway. We've been watching behind the tire tracks of everybody else, and nobody's twitching, but obviously Davis is going to have to come to the pits very soon. I'm sure NASCAR will be calling him in. In fact, looks like he may be coming in now.
Wow, look at Woodside in the 07, the orange and blue machine, or red and blue machine, really putting the heat on Cameron's number 12. Down to the drag strip. Now let's see who's got the horsepower. Here comes the draft.
This is, remember now, Cameron is on older tires. Woodside will get down to the inside, and he will take that spot as Kenny Schrader can only watch the action in front of him. Schrader also has not pitted for tires or fuel in the early going.
Back up to turn number 2. Woodside now up into third. He'll try to catch up to Lance Norrick.
Woodside second in the series points and the only driver to finish in the top 10 of every event so far. Consistency wins championships, and so far Kevin Woodside has been the most consistent of the Winston West drivers.
Got a good drive out of that corner. Look how much speed he's carrying down the back straightaways. He's really reeling in Norrick as Norrick gets trapped behind that smoking number 4 of Jeff Davis.
Davis did stay out. He did not duck into the pits this last time, but NASCAR is watching that closely. Mike Berlotti, race director, and the other race officials keeping a close eye all the way around this 2.1-mile road course just outside of Topeka. Jeff Davis way wide this time, but I think he just moved out of the way to let the leaders go by.
Yep, he saw them coming and got out of the way. Gentlemanly thing to do.
Now, most of the spotters on this track will be in the grandstand section on the main straightaway.
Problems apparently for Lance Norrick. Let's check in with Bill Hennessy with more.
Mike, what's wrong with Lance's car?
Well, this morning, the first practice, we had a battery go bad, and the alternator went out. We thought we fixed the problem, but all of a sudden we have a blubber in the ignition now.
What are you going to do to try to fix it?
We hope we can unhook the tack, and maybe it's a short in the tachometer or something.
Lance Norrick.
Mark, that's something that Norrick, who now slips back to third behind Woodside, won't be able to fix until he gets another chance to pit.
And even then, Ralph, there's no guarantee that they can fix it. Now, if the alternator is going bad on that car, That means he could run out of battery by the end of the race. The engine flutter clearly is giving him some problems now. As you mentioned, Woodside has already passed into the second spot, and Norrick is falling a little bit further back.
Well, not only is Woodside up to second, but Mark, he is really gaining ground on Harvick. Here's the fight back behind them as Schrader comes after Cameron in the fight for fourth with company on his backside.
That's Gary Smith in the 16 car, but Woodside is noticeably closing in on our race leader as they come through the S's once again. The hardest part of the course for most of these drivers, in a spot where you can pick up some ground if somebody makes a mistake.
The fight for the lead is a good one here in Heartland Park. Stay with us as TNN Motorsports brings you more coverage of NASCAR's Winston West.
Glidden and Home Depot together, it's an unbeatable combination.
We are a paint store in Home Depot.
Glidden's been around 120 years, and they know paint.
It's unbeatable.
So I can always honestly recommend that you use Glidden paint.
It applies easily, doesn't splatter because it's a nice thick paint.
And you just get a brush and roller and you go at it. It covers really well. It's a quality paint. Good durability, good price.
Glidden has it all. You don't stay in business for 120 years if you don't have good exterior paint.
A lot of folks in Johnson City, Tennessee will tell you when you need a part for your car, go to AutoZone. The parts are top quality, the prices are low, and the people are helpful, like Gary Jennings. You see, when it comes to auto parts, folks will tell you Gary really knows his stuff. Oh, sure, they know there are other parts stores in town, but when it comes to getting the right part, the right price, and good advice from folks like Gary, there's just no place better than AutoZone.
The look of trucks customized with Lund accessories, like their owners. No two are alike. Running boards, hood shields, bed covers, and more. No matter what make or model you own, Lund accessories will make your truck as different as you are. Lund, you've got an attitude. So should your truck. Watch your favorite stars at the Lund Look 275 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race, August 23rd at Heartland Park, Topeka. For ticket information, call 1-800-43-RACES.
What's the human up to?
Waiting on the pest control guy again. Don't worry, he never shows.
Oh, no! They call Terminix.
For service when you want it, the way you want it. Call 1-800-TERMINIX. No bugs, no hassles.
You're watching TNN, America's Country Home. Your #1 source for country entertainment and information.
TNN Motorsports happy to bring you the inaugural running of the Luke Oil 250, the NASCAR Winston West Series first trip to the beautiful Heartland Park Topeka circuit. Kevin Harvick is our leader in the Spears Manufacturing number 75. He's being chased by Sean Woodside. Kenny Schrader finally makes his way down pit road.
Looks like they're just fueling the car. That's something of a surprise, Ralph, because this is a track that's going to gobble up tires, and we saw before that without fresh right side rubber, it's real hard to keep pace. But they also have to have tire strategy here because they are only allowed 12 total tires for the weekend.
Well, we'll see how Schrader's strategy works out as he brings the Bud Luke Oil number 52 back up to speed and back out onto the racetrack.
This is a long event. This is, in fact, one of the longer road races that the Winston West Series has run over the years. So patience is a virtue here. And Ken Schrader, although in the Winston Cup Series has to run hard out all the time, in this series he may be having the luxury of watching other competitors up front burn their tires off from lack of experience.
Woodside still giving chase to Harvick.
And closing in quickly in that respect. Now, here are two drivers that started on the front row of this event. And, Ralph, I'm most impressed with Harvick. We talked with him before the race, and he said, last year I was running in the top 5 of the truck event and tore my transmission out. The thing that I have to learn about road racing is to save my equipment. Well, so far he's doing a good job of that.
Well, there's more action in the pits. Let's check back in with Bill Hennessy down on pit road.
Taking on fuel and left side tires, but he may have some problems.
So Tony Tost goes back out onto the racetrack. Well, let's go right back down to the pits with Bill Hennessy for more on the story.
Jeff, it didn't look like a routine pit stop. What happened there?
We have a little oil leak we're trying to locate, and we got out of sequence because of that, so now we should be able to go the rest of the way.
Well, Mark, even though they lost time in the pits, Toast might be able to take advantage of not having to pit again. But look at this fight for the lead. Here comes Woodside, this time on the outside around Harvick and into the lead.
So for the first time today, the man who's number 2 in the series points takes the top spot, but Harvick is not going to give it up without a fight. Let's see if Woodside can hold the advantage going down through turns 2 and 3.
Boy, Woodside carried so much speed down that straightaway.
Kevin Woodside, his trade is a camera utility in Hollywood. It just so happens his car owner supplies cars to the motion picture industry. Ray Claridge with Cinema Hollywood Cars. And if you want a fire engine, he's got it. You want a 57 Studebaker, he's got it. You want a police car, he's got it. That's how he makes his living, and now Woodside's trying to make his living in the stock car, and for the first time today, on the point.
And Woodside's car, the 07, a pretty historical one as well within the Winston West Series. Lance Hooper scored all of his wins in the 07, and now Sean Woodside has 3 wins in it as well, looking for win number 4 here today.
And Lance Hooper, of course, the 1996 Winston West champion, who has come to the East to run Ralph, a little bit of everything. The trucks, Busch Brand National cars, even a Winston Cup ride or two.
He's done like everybody else. He's packed up and moved to Charlotte.
And Ray Claridge was Hooper's car owner at that time, too.
This time, Woodside will be all by himself as he storms down the straightaway. And boy, you can see he just pulls away from Harvick.
They're doing hard to tell from cameras, because cameras on stock car racing are so deceiving. But just before they get to the markers indicating the end of the front stretch, they're pulling 140 to 150 miles per hour.
About half of what the NHRA's Top Fuel dragsters will be doing here later in the year.
But the NHRA Top Fuel dragsters run out of fuel after about 3/8 of a mile. These guys are able to go 20 laps.
Yeah, minor points, minor points. Heartland Park has been known as one of the quickest and fastest on the NHRA Drag Racing Tour. Today, it's getting recognition as one of the best road courses in the country. Stay with us. We'll be back for more right after this.
If these walls could talk, they wouldn't tell you about the quality wood Fleetwood craftsmen use, but about 6-year-olds making s'mores for the first time. They wouldn't talk about our brand name appliances, but about surprise birthday parties. And they might not mention the 200 inspections we make, but they would tell you of babies being rocked to sleep. Because at Fleetwood, we know the quality that counts most in a home is the quality of life inside. Fleetwood Homes, quality for life. See your Fleetwood Homes retailer.
You know, I was into all that extreme stuff when I was your age. Just didn't have a fancy name for it. Because I never had a Subaru Outback Sport either.
Too bad, Uncle. This beauty's got a ton of cargo space. Full-time all-wheel drive, more horsepower than a RAV4. Never did that, I'll bet.
Sure we did. But what's the rope for?
Outback Sport, part of the Outback family from Subaru.
Today on TNN Motorsports, it's life on the edge, pushed to the extreme. ASA Racing, where it's tough to win anything, but easy to lose everything. To these guys, there's no such thing as fast enough. The American Speed Association AC Delco Challenge Series. It's racing that's always a rout. Don't miss the Palm Harbor Homes 300 today at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on TNN Motorsports.
When I work on my car, you know what I really need? I need parts that'll last. Because a lifetime guarantee is no good if I have to keep replacing the part. Give me quality name brand parts. Hey, you know what I want.
Parts America, the best auto parts store in America, guaranteed.
The inaugural running of the Lukoil 250K is the first time the Winston West cars have towed this far east to run a standalone event. They have competed as far east as the Brickyard 400 in Indianapolis, Indiana. And of course, that race was run in conjunction with the NASCAR Winston Cup division.
Now, road course races are a big part of the history of the NASCAR Winston West Series. It dates all the way back to the Pacific Coast Lake Models, which competed at Willow Springs Raceway back in 1955. Since then, they've run on 9 road race courses, and they've also had 2 street races. In fact, at one point, Herschel McGriff won 3 straight road and street course races way back when.
Herschel McGriff, of course, competing here today, although his day is already done.
This is Gary Smith. This is a battle in the top 10. The gold and blue 16 is Gary Smith. Behind him, the 00 of Scott Gaylord. This is for position.
Well, Gary comes all the way from Malahat, British Columbia to race. The car and crew come from All-American Speedway, which is in Roseville, California, a suburb of Sacramento.
And Gary Smith, his famous pedigree, his father, Roy Smith, the 4-time Winston West champion.
And Gary trying to live up to his famous father's reputation by maybe getting a win here today in Heartland Park. Stay with us. TNN Motorsports coverage of NASCAR's Winston West division will continue from Topeka after this.
Husky, the toughest name in tools. Guaranteed forever. Available at the Home Depot.
When you build a country by hand, you're going to get a little dirty doing it. And for over 100 years, dirty hands have been coming clean with lava soap. Today, there's liquid lava with the heavy-duty cleaning power of pumice in a pump. Lava.
The look-up trucks customized with Lund accessories, like their owners. No two are alike. Running boards, hood shields, bed covers, and more. No matter what make or model you own, Lund accessories will make your truck as different as you are. Lund, you've got an attitude. So should your truck. Watch your favorite stars at the Lund Look 275 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race, August 23rd at Heartland Park, Topeka. For ticket information, call 1-800-43-RACES.
June 21st on TNN Motorsports. If it's action you want, we've got the race.
It's bumper to bumper.
And I've got the lead.
No, I've got the lead.
The lead's always changing when the Winston Cup stars go head-to-head at one of NASCAR's most competitive tracks, Pocono Raceway. You don't want to miss the Pocono 500. Live Sunday, June 21st at 1 Eastern, 10 Pacific.
And it's right here on TNN Motorsports.
We're back to Heartland Park, Topeka, Kansas. Car number 16, Gary Smith out of Malahat, British Columbia, taking the Napa Martin Senior Tribotech Chevy Monte Carlo on a lap of the 2.1-mile road course.
Every time Gary races, it's really a trek for him. When he and his father were racing out of British Columbia, Malahat is a suburb of Victoria, which is on Vancouver Island off the coast of British Columbia, Maine. But as we'll get back to that story in a moment, Tony Toast back in the pits, the jack is up, and that is not a routine pit stop.
Well, you can see the crew crawling around underneath the car. And they're going to send him back out, but it looks like they know they've got bigger problems underneath. Kenny Schrader continuing too, the winner of the last round with the Winston West cars at Fontana.
There's Gary Smith and Scott Gaylord battling for position. Now, whenever Gary Smith wants to race, he has to get on a ferry to get back to the mainland of British Columbia or into the state of Washington to compete. So it's a real trek for him to get from point to point whenever the Winston West cars compete.
The two guys that are numbers 1 and 2 in the Winston West point standings are currently running second and first in reverse order. Sean Woodside, our race leader, is second in the point standings to the man that is running right behind him. That car, Kevin Harvick, and the Spears number 75, is the series points leader with 669 points to 618.
And that translates to a 51-point difference between first and second. However, Harvick has driven to victory lane once this year, while Woodside is still looking for that first victory. And problems for Gary Smith as Scott Gaylord goes flying by and takes a position away. There is a problem on that Napa entry.
And that's too bad, because Gary was sitting 5th in the point standings and would have a great opportunity to pick up ground on Craig Rodman here today. Woodside looking to do the same thing with Harvick.
But he is continuing to open the margin ever so slightly. Each lap, it looks like the distance between first and second is opening up.
Now we take a look even farther back.
That's Brandon Ash in the number 23. And he's getting pressure from the 40, the STP colors, although not STP sponsorship, of Kelly Tanner, the two-time NASCAR Featherlight Northwest Tour champion.
Want to take a guess as to which stable the 40 car came out of?
I don't think so, Ralph. I think even the folks at home have got that one figured out.
And Bo Lemler in the 55 car comes screaming through. So the Lukoil 250 continues with Sean Woodside leading Kevin Harvick. Stay with us. We'll be back for more.
Glidden and Home Depot together is an unbeatable combination.
We are a paint store in Home Depot.
Glidden's been around 120 years, and they know paint.
It's unbeatable.
So I can always honestly recommend that you use Glidden paint.
It applies easily, doesn't splatter because it's a nice thick paint.
And you just get a brush and roller and you go at it. It covers really well. It's a quality paint. Good durability, good price.
Glidden has it all. You don't stay in business for 120 years if you don't have good exterior paint.
The look of trucks customized with Lund accessories, like their owners. No two are alike. Running boards, hood shields, bed covers, and more. No matter what make or model you own, Lund accessories will make your truck as different as you are. Lund, you've got an attitude. So should your truck. Watch your favorite stars at the Lund Look 275 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race, August 23rd at Heartland Park, Topeka. For ticket information, call 1-800-43-RACES.
Join Gary Chapman as he brings out the best each night with the brightest stars. Primetime Country, Monday through Thursday, 9 Eastern on TNN. Brought to you by Kellogg's, with good taste, nutrition, and value. The best of you each morning from Kellogg's.
Some things are just too darn big to fit in a tiny package. That's why CMT has the big ticket, 12 big hours of big stars every week. We got Big Alan, Big Dina, Big John Michael, Big Leanne. They're all big, and I don't mean big and tall. They're big and famous and barely fit in 12 big shows. Cause some things weren't meant to fit in a tiny package. Turn on to CMT's Big Ticket. Weekdays at 1 and 9 Eastern.
Hey, like this? Then you'll love CMT Morning. CMT Morning, Monday through Friday, 6 to 10 a.m. Turn on to country. Turn on to genuine CMT.
Well, Bill Kentling and his staff have done a great job of turning this 2.1-mile ribbon of asphalt here in the Plains into the finest racetrack road course in all of the Midwest. We're enjoying it here today as NASCAR's Winston West Division puts on a fine show in the Lukoil 250 with Sean Woodside leading series points leader Kevin Harvick right now. Problems for car 32, it looks like, Mark. Eric Norris out of Dallas, the prolong machine, slipping and sliding.
We'll keep an eye on that because when you're slipping and sliding in that portion of the track, that may mean that you got a tire going down. That's not normally a spot that we'd expect to see a car wiggle. And
whoa,
look, there goes Norris around, and the leaders get by cleanly.
Fortunately for him, a lot of room between the racetrack and the walls, so he loops it, but keeps it from doing any damage. I'm sure he'll be headed to the pits.
And a very unusual place to lose it, so there probably is a mechanical difficulty with that car.
Let's check in the pits with Bill Hennessy with the men with the horsepower behind Heartland Park.
The heartland of America. And for Bill Kentling, you folks made a commitment here to really put on some great shows at this racing facility over the years.
We've been blessed. We've had great drivers. We've had great race series come in here, most of which have aired on TNN, so we've been able to build that relationship. And this event is typical. Herschel McGriff, one of NASCAR's top 50 drivers in history, comes out of retirement. Ken Schrader comes over to run with us, plus the very good established stars of Winston West. So in our 10th season, we feel very proud of what we've done on our 2.1-mile road course.
Sean Woodside continues to lead. Bill Kentling and his staff done a great job with this racetrack here at Heartland Park.
Ralph, you and I have known Bill Kentling a long time, and his enthusiasm for motorsports is contagious. And with Jay Lendrum coming on board, with some financial support and some additional vision, I expect great things in the future for Heartland Park, Topeka.
Sean Woodside expects great things for this racetrack, too, like a trip to Victory Lane. Bo Lemler in the 55, continuing to lap here, and good tank coming up behind him.
And Scott Gaylord has passed Eric Norris, who had problems just moments ago. One of the cars that has also had problems that we expected to do well is Butch Gilliland. He has taken his car behind the wall for the day, so the man who was going for 3 straight road race wins will not get it, and we've got caution on the speedway.
And that is not a road racing caution, that is a full course caution. So the Lukoil 250 will come to a slow once again for the second time today.
And we've just passed the halfway mark, and this is only our second caution of the afternoon.
Well, stay with us here on TNN Motorsports. We're going to slow things down, but we'll be back with more Winston West Racing for you right after this.
Most companies that make canopies for our nation's jet fighters look to this oil company for a critical component to make them bulletproof. When it really counts, they seem to be the one to count on. With that in mind, what kind of gasoline do you think they'd make for your car? You'd be right. Citgo, when it counts.
Now here's a woman who loves her garden so much she turned it into a growing business.
I come by this honestly. My grandparents were farmers. I've made bouquets for people for years, and people finally said, why don't you start selling those things? I think the secret behind a lot of this has to do with Miracle-Gro. Miracle-Gro has produced very sturdy plants, long stems, big blossoms. Look at the colors. What more could I ask for? The compliment has to go to Miracle-Gro.
The look-up trucks customized with Lund accessories, like their owners. No two are alike. Running boards, hood shields, bed covers, and more. No matter what make or model you own, Lund accessories will make your truck as different as you are. Lund, you've got an attitude. So should your truck. Watch your favorite stars at the Lund Look 275 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race, August 23rd at Heartland Park, Topeka. For ticket information, call 1-800-43-RACES.
Hi, I'm Art Drysdale, and this is the Garden Claw. Using spades, forks, or cultivators can be back-breaking. The Garden Claw has a patented design that virtually eliminates bending and lifting. Turn the handles and the steel tines corkscrew down into all soils, even clay. It's perfect for mixing in peat and fertilizer, and it's ideal for working around plants and shrubs. The Garden Claw is backed by a 100% guarantee.
Look for this display. Available at Home Depot and participating Ace True Value HWI and Service Star.
Well, the caution flag is waving once again with the inaugural running of the NASCAR Winston West Series at Heartland Park in Topeka, Kansas. The Lukoil 250K. Pace car is out on the track. The field is bunching up back behind it once again. Pace car now pulling off as we make our way into the slowest portion of the race course. They'll be coming through these tight S's, up out onto the front straightaway. We should be getting back up to speed here in just a second. Green flag, and we're back at it.
And they'll come storming back up through the gearbox, and by the time they hit that point, everybody's trying to find the spot they want to get into in turn one. And so far, Ralph, I've been real impressed. As fast as they are coming into the first turn, nobody has missed it yet.
And Mark, as you might notice, Kevin Harvick in the Spear 75 back out into the lead. That's because due to pit stop, Sean Woodside took opportunity under the yellow to make a pit stop. He has moved back through the field. Bo Lemler in the yellow 55 runs second on the racetrack, but he is at least one or more laps down.
Yes, he had a rear end problem earlier in the race. They had to replace an axle, and so he is out of the top spot. Well, one driver who's having a good run is Kelly Tenner, the two-time Northwest Tour champion. Bill Hennessy talked with him before the race.
Kelly, you're obviously using racing to further your product development of racing. What are you involved with, and what kind of products are Tanner Racing?
We manufacture race scales, electronic scale systems that are used for chassis setups. You've probably seen some of the teams around here today that even been using them. We also manufacture tire measurement equipment. We make a digital tire pressure gauge, which is very popular with the Winston Cup teams because it measures tire pressure buildup, which seems to be like the shocks were a couple years ago. The new buzzword is pressure buildup.
Kelly, what's unique about the way that you weigh the chassis?
Basically, we just put a lot of extra engineering into our scales to cut down the deflection Obviously, if you have a wheel with some camber in it and the scales deflect, the racetrack doesn't deflect to meet your tire deflects to meet the racetrack, so we've made the scale pad stand up and make it pretty rigid.
Ralph, we asked drivers to fill out a bio sheet before the event, tell us some of their likes and dislikes. We asked Kelly Tanner what his favorite movies are. He said Top Gun and Days of Thunder. His favorite actor? Well, you'd think Tom Cruise, but it's actually Nicole Kidman. Good, red-blooded American male.
Yeah, absolutely. The 55 of Lemler was smoking the tires as he has gained back a lap, and we got a problem here.
The 23 is Brandon Ash. The 71 is Jerry Kane, and it looks like Ron Burns is also off course.
Yep, and the 26, the green and yellow car. They all get straightened back out onto the racetrack and continue on.
We haven't really seen too many, in fact, that may be the first multi-car incident that we've seen, Ralph, and I'm most impressed at how for a number of drivers who don't have that much experience or are seeing this track for the very first time, how well they've negotiated it.
Hey, I'll tell you what, once Bo Lemler got the rear end fixed on the 55, boy, that car's working pretty good. The setup that Eddie Sharp phoned in, his crew chief, phones in all the setups, really worked well, and Lemler pulling away. Now we see Harvick diving for pit road.
So he'll be making a routine pit stop on that entry, we believe, although just going back to green flag action, there may be a question on the race leader's car. We'll see if we can't get a follow-up on that in just a moment. But Scott Gaylord has got that 00 sitting in the top spot for the first time today.
And now Toast, who's had problems throughout the day in the 10 car, tries to come up on the inside. Gaylord protects the line. Earlier today, Bill Hennessy talked with Scott Gaylord about whether or not he likes road racing.
No, I enjoy it. I mean, that's my background. I grew up, my first national championship was at Road Atlanta in the runoff. So, you know, that's really where I grew up on the road courses. Our best finishes have been the short tracks, but we've been leading a lot of road course races and had maybe something will go wrong. So we're happy here.
Scott Gaylord still looking for that first road race victory. His career best so far is a third.
And he needs a good run here today, too, Mark, because he came into this race 13th in the points after the last round at California Speedway out in Fontana. Stay with TNN Motorsports as we continue to bring you more coverage of the NASCAR Winston West Division from Topeka.
This is one of those new Volvos with all-wheel drive, right?
Yes. It's our newest safety feature, designed to help keep you out of an accident.
So how come you don't put it on all your cars?
All our cars.
Like Subaru does.
Subaru.
Every Subaru we make comes with the safety of all-wheel drive. Every wagon, every coupe, every sedan.
So only one Volvo has all-wheel drive, but they all have cup holders.
Yeah. Subaru, the beauty of all-wheel drive.
Yeah, listen up, mate. If any one of you can hit a bullseye, I'll buy you a steak dinner. Did I say bullseye? I'm in a triple 20. Did I say triple 20?
For a meal that hits the spot every time, get to Outback Steakhouse.
Did I say blindfolded?
Finally, after 49 years, you now have a soft drink that not only refreshes your thirst, it refreshes your sport. Drink accordingly.
Husky, the toughest name in tools. Guaranteed forever. Available at the Home Depot.
To keep your lawn springtime green, start using Miracle Grow lawn food now. With the new no-clog 4-in-1 feeder, you can apply it with your sprinkler. Goes on cool and wet, doesn't burn. Miracle Grow lawn food for a green lawn all summer long.
Welcome back to TNN Motorsports. We're in Heartland Park, Topeka, Kansas today to bring you the Luke Oil 250K. Inaugural running of the Winston West cars in Kansas. Back to green. Toast leads him into turn one. And Norrick's still out on the racetrack, too, and that's surprising, Mark, because Remember, he had that problem on the electrical side of car number 60.
And Norick is actually the race leader, Ralph, because Toast, we mentioned earlier, has had some oil leak problems that his crew has had to check. And Norick has done a nice job dealing with a race car that we know is not exactly right. It's possible that they did get that engine miss problem fixed in the pits. They were going to do some work by disconnecting the tach.
That's our race leader there, the black number 60. Toast moves over. Norick slides by, putting another lapper between him and the challengers coming up from behind.
And that is important on this racetrack because the best places to pass are obviously the front straightaway and then in the two long chutes on either side of the chicane. But beyond that, it's very difficult to pass at Heartland Park.
Well, Lance has had a pretty rough beginning, too, to the early part of this season. Look at this battle going on here. Is that Spears' car? Harvick with lots of smoke behind as Woodside gets right up underneath him. That's the fight for second.
Lots of tire smoke in that portion of the course. The new track owner is Jay Lendrum, and we talked with him before the race about what it's like to own a motorsports facility.
We're really proud of it. It's a tremendous facility, and we're excited to be hosting the Lukoil 250 here, and we're just looking forward to having a good race today.
Anything we can anticipate in the future? I know you're planning on expanding.
Well, we've got a lot of plans to expand. We have a lot of opportunity here. We have a tremendous facility. We want to bring in some other venues, some other races, and be able to bring more motorsports to the heartland of Kansas.
Well, these Winston West competitors certainly enjoying their trip east to run at Heartland Park. Sean Woodside looking to improve on that, take home a victory trophy with him from the weekend. Oh, and problems for the 23 car on pit road is Brandon Ash.
Now, he was one of the cars involved in that three-car incident coming off of turn two earlier with Jerry Kane and Ron Burns. And you can see the damage to the right front corner of that car. It looks more like a sheet metal rub than anything else, Ralph.
Problems for Ash, though, Mark. He came into this race 11th in points, looking at an opportunity to move up into the top 10, and that might hurt him here today.
One of the things that we mentioned earlier, Ralph, was that some of these drivers are seeing a road course for the very first time, but a number of them, including Sean Woodside and Scott Gaylord, for instance, have Winston West road racing experience as well as some companion Winston Cup experience, having run over in Suzuka, Japan. And look at how they tiptoe through the S's down there. Everybody is respecting that portion of the race course, as I think Gary Smith was trailing some tire smoke there just moments ago.
There's Woodside. And there's Kenny Schrader in the 52.
He's chasing Kevin Richards in the 85. Kevin Richards, a former crew chief for 10 years in the NASCAR Northwest Tour. Now he's a driver.
Well, you know, Kenny Schrader racing with us here this weekend. He'll race anywhere on any day off, as our Bill Hennessy found out earlier today.
Ken, what brings you to the Midwest on a busy weekend?
Well, the weekend was real busy Friday and Saturday, but Sunday was off, and there's a Winston West race here at Heartland Park, so we wanted to be part of it.
When you say you want to be a part of it, you've got to come out here. You let Scott Hansen drive the car to qualify it. Now they're saying you have to start at the rear. That's a big obstacle to overcome on a Sunday afternoon, an entire field of Winston West competitors.
Well, it is, but it's also 71 laps here, and 71 laps on a road course is quite a while. If it was a normal road course or one that maybe I'd never been to, I probably wouldn't try it, but I've been fortunate to have run here at Heartland Park half a dozen times or so. So not having to learn the track, we figured we'd be okay to give it a try.
A real racer's racer, Kenny Schrader. It's too bad, though, he doesn't do anything with the midgets and sprint cars anymore. Schrader was a lot of fun to watch in open wheel racing.
And he's putting good pressure on the 85 of Kevin Richards. So Schrader's got 6 Winston West victories. In fact, he's coming off a win at the most recent event out in California, Fontana Speedway.
He's one of 4 drivers to have won the first 4 races of the 1998 Winston West season. The Lukoil 250 is round number 5. Maybe we'll get our first repeat winner for the 98 season. And Schrader really putting the heat onto Woodside now. We talked, Mark, at the beginning of the show. Look at him break deep into the corner, up onto the curbing, and around the inside of Woodside. And we talked about how Schrader hadn't had a lot of laps in this car. And as he got more laps in, he'd feel comfortable and charge to the front. Maybe now is his march towards the front of the pack.
I think he's putting on the show that all of us expected him to when we first saw him pull into the speedway about an hour and a half before the practice session this morning.
Can Kenny Schrader make it? Stay with TNN to find out.
how a secret agent eats a Reese's peanut butter cup.
I slip in unnoticed, penetrate the defenses, secure the discs, then destroy the evidence.
There's no wrong way to eat a Reese's.
Husky, the toughest name in tools. Guaranteed forever. Available at the Home Depot.
My car never bothers to tell me when it's going to break down. And I don't have a pile of cash just laying around. And the parts I need to fix it, they're never the ones on sale.
Know how irritating that is?
Listen, we're talking about my hard-earned money here.
Parts America, the best auto parts store in America, guaranteed.
Friday night on TNN Motor Madness. Get ready for more hard-hitting, metal-punching crashes. It's non-stop, full-contact motorsports with a few surprises thrown in, too. Join Dusty Rhodes and the gang for another knockdown, drag-out night of no-holds-barred demolition derby. Don't miss the Dixie Crash Fest 2, live Friday night at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on TNN Motor Madness.
TNN Motorsports bringing you coverage of round number 5 of the 14-race Winston West Series for 1998. As these drivers chase a $300,000 point fund. Lance Norrick leads Kevin Harvick here at the Lukoil 250 at Heartland Park in Topeka, Kansas.
Norrick had some mechanical problems a little bit earlier. Thought they were having alternator problems. In fact, they still are having that, but the engine seems to have cleared itself up, and he is staying out on the point. A good strong run for Kelly Tanner in the STP colors. He's running in the top 10. A NASCAR Winston, or rather a NASCAR Featherlight Modified Tour two-time champion back in 96 and 97 is stepping up.
Whoa, Bo Lemler loops it.
And that's over in turn 2, and Jerry Kane is able to get around him in good shape. Kane has sat on one pole this season. Ron Burns is able to get by. Burns went off the course there a little while ago with a couple of other cars, and Lemler is back on the track.
There's Lance Norrick still fighting off the advances of points leader Kevin Harvick. And Norrick's a unique guy who likes toys. He's got everything from, oh, look at this battle going side by side now as we come down into the S's.
And this is an unusual place to make a pass, and he executes it. No, he didn't. I thought he had it there, but he doesn't.
Well, it sure looked like it, but Norrick was able to fight him off and hold on to the lead. As I was going to say, Norrick loves his toys. He's got everything from customized Harleys and a super fast, super trick Ducati 916 to a very small but very cool Mini Cooper.
A big boy's nice toys. But he has to be doing some mere driving as well because Harvick is clearly the faster car in certain portions of this track.
Well, the 3 races that Lance Norrick has driven already this season with the NASCAR Winston West Tour, he's got no top 5s, no wins, and no top 10s. So if he can hold on to this, this will be by far his best finish of the 1998 Winston West season. Kevin Richards has an appreciation for art, as our Bill Hennessy found out earlier.
World War II fighter planes always had them painted on the nose. For Kevin Richards, he's got Missy too. Tell us about Missy.
Well, the car owner, he came up with this deal where I'm not real sure exactly where he visualized these women from. I've never really asked him. But this car here is Missy too, and our other car is Maria. And I don't know exactly how the picture comes into it, but we name all our cars by something that happened. And when we went to buy a car, we missed the airplane to get home, so that's how this ended up being Missy too.
A unique design, and it kind of fits here at Heartland Park because right next door, Mark, is a very famous airport.
Yeah, in fact, it's an airport that's the Air National Guard unit now that supplies tankers for the United States Air Force fleet. But back up front, we have a change for the lead as Kevin Harvick has moved to the point while we were in that interview, and so Kevin Harvick, as he has done most of this event, is back up front, and that is not good news for everybody else because as we're getting into the waning laps of this race, it appears that his car is getting stronger.
Take a look back. There's Woodside. There's the 85 car of Richards right there. coming up behind them, the 32 machine, no, make that the 12 machine of Austin Cameron, and then the 40 of Kelly Tanner out of Woodinville, Washington.
And that is a battle for position. They've had a good tussle going the last few laps. But look at how much of an advantage that Harvick has over second place now. It keeps opening up about a car length every half lap.
Norrick trying to hang on. He has really had a unique day, has Lance Norrick, from working his way into the lead, then falling out, having mechanical problems, working his way back into the lead, now slipping back to second.
Now, we talked about how a top 5 finish would be an excellent effort for Lance Norrick so far. Now, it's quite the opposite for Kevin Harvick, our race leader. In the first 4 events, he's got 1 victory and 3 top 5 finishes. He's also led the most laps, and as befits that kind of a performance, he is the series points leader.
Harvick is actually the only driver to have led in all 4 races held so far this season, as Schrader begins to turn up the heat as well as he tries to work his way to the front. Mark, you think he can catch Harvick before this thing is over?
I think he'll do it, or he'll burn the tires off trying. Schrader, who has already got 1 victory in the series, so he just loves coming out here. In fact, Kenny Schrader loves racing anything, whether it's 2 or 4 wheels. We haven't seen him motorcycle racing of late because probably his contract doesn't permit it. But you know that Kenny Schrader is a real racer.
And we'll be back to see if Schrader can continue his march to the front on TNN after this.
They're some of our favorite people, the millions of AutoZone customers who change their own oil. They're the kind of folks who believe that taking care of their car and saving money go hand in hand. And while we admire their willingness to tackle a dirty job, most of all, we thank them for bringing their used oil back to us. After all, used motor oil should be recycled, and that's one job we simply can't do alone.
So, who's going to be our next couple? Let's boogie! And tonight's winner gets dinner on the house!
Here in the Outback, nothing brings out our hunger to compete like a juicy steak and a bloomin' onion. At Outback Steakhouse, we know nothing starts an evening off on the right foot like a great steak. Outback Steakhouse. No rules, just right.
It's life on the edge, pushed to the extreme. ASA Racing. The S stands for speed. The Palm Harbor Homes 300. Today at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on TNN Motorsports.
Know what's going on at Opryland, USA? What's going on at Opryland, USA? A lot. Call today, 1-800-316-1316 to reserve your Opryland, USA summer vacation package.
Welcome back to TNN Motorsports coverage of the inaugural running of the Lukoil 250. Ralph Shaheen along with Mark Allen and Bill Hennessy with you as we enjoy the Winston West Series inaugural visit to Heartland Park. Kevin Harvick in that blue and white Spear 75 that just sailed on past your screen as your leader. Second place is that black-white number 60 of Lance Norrick. And third, Winston Cup star Ken Schrader giving chase in the white and blue Lukoil Budweiser back Chevy Monte Carlo.
And Ralph, there's an additional incentive in this race besides just the victory and the money that goes with it. After this race, Winston will pay $50,000 of bonus money to the top points getters in the series to this extent. And obviously, everybody's got that in the back of their minds, but there's even a bigger purse at the end of this year. Winston stepped up after last season and has posted a $300,000 points fund, and that has contributed in part to a number of teams coming into the series as caution is now on the track.
A full course caution all over the Heartland Park Speedway. Well, you know, getting ready to go road racing takes more than just bringing your car to the track. You got to change the gearbox, as Bill Hennessy discovered in the pits.
Mike, road racing requires a special gearbox. It's really tough to slam these cars down from fourth to third to second to first and back up through the gearbox many times without the gearbox really wanting to come apart.
That's true. This transmission has a dog-type shift, which is similar to a motorcycle. So that allows a positive engagement into a gear at the same time the car is being slowed by the brakes. One of the other differences on this transmission is a bronze shoe, that only the external bolts are visible. The bronze shoe is inside. Actually, what this shoe or heel does is it rides with a very small amount of clearance to a slider, but under the severest of deceleration or slowing the car down, with the engine, it will bump against that shoe. That keeps the transmission from separating or spreading and resulting gear failure.
And our race leader, Kevin Harvick, is using a Tex 100 transmission. A number of other drivers in the field are using the Jericho.
And we're about set to go back to green flag racing. Now, some of the guys have taken advantage of pit stops, as you can see. That'll shuffle the field up a little bit. The pace car is off. The green flag is out. Harvick leads him down to turn number 1.
And let's give a call to Kevin Richards, who's come up through the gearbox nicely. He's in front of Sean Woodside as we're down to the final laps of this event. And this is where we're going to see if anybody's got anything left for Harvick.
Everybody fighting for those last few feet of track position. This one is scheduled for 74 laps here today on the 2.1-mile road course.
And we're inside of 10 laps to go with Kevin Richards up there in the second spot with that artwork on the car and all. Now, here's a guy who is a champion crew chief, so he knows how to set up a race car, and he's showing today he knows how to drive one as well.
Well, and Woodside really needs to get up in here too, Mark, and mix this up, because he sits second in the point standings, and he cannot afford to let Harvick open up a bigger gap in the points lead. In fact, Woodside is one of the top guys in the point standings who has not won a race so far in 1998.
But he has been consistent with 4 top 10 finishes in those 4 events. And Harvick has pulled out to a sizable advantage as we watch the battle for second, where Woodside is trying to catch Richards. And we've got trouble on the track as a couple of cars have gone around.
One of those is Lance Norrick in car number 60. The other was the number 2 machine. That is Craig Rodman out of Redding, California.
And there's a replacement driver in that car, but for the moment, let's stay with this as Norrick is parked on the track. Whether he is broken mechanically or whether there is damage to that car that will not let him roll away, we are not sure. But here was a man who was running in the top 5 and is all of a sudden in big-time trouble.
Well, and his bad luck of the 1998 Winston West season continues. As we had mentioned at the beginning, Norrick has been in 3 races, and so far, even though he's been a contender, has not come home even with a top 10 finish, and it looks like it won't happen here again today.
We have to wonder if if there is no damage to that car, if that alternator problem has not surfaced again and created some bigger issues for that number 60 machine.
Well, Richards, if he can hold on to second place here, Mark, will help move himself into the top 5 in points. He came into the race in 6th, and Tanner closing up as well. He's in 3rd, or make that 4th, and he sits 7th in the points.
And let's follow up on that Craig Rodman story. We have a report that he was in some damage earlier. The crush panels were knocked in on that car. Fumes were getting into the car. He climbed out, and Ron Esau, a veteran campaigner who was a spotter. They called him down out of the grandstands, and he's now driving the car.
Ron Esau certainly knows how to hustle a Winston West car around there. There's no doubt about it. There he goes. Tanner in the Petty Enterprise color scheme, sweeping past as Norrick's car still sits off to the side of the racetrack. There's a standing yellow there, a road racing standing yellow, warning the competitors that there is an incident there. They have to come through that. Oh, and look at this.
That's Kenny Schrader has blown up, or his rear end has let go, but that looks like terminal problems.
Absolutely big problems for Kenny Schrader's Lukoil Budweiser Batch 52. Schrader, who had come into this race with only 4 laps of practice. Scott Hansen, Schrader's American Speed Association driver, set the car up for him, got him in the show, Schrader did a great job with his crew of getting a feel for the car, racing to the front, and now, unfortunately for Kenny Schrader, he is out.
And that is not the cameraman shaking. That is the wind. That's how strong it is.
Stay with us. We'll be bringing you the conclusion right after this here on TNN.
Every so often, something comes along so good, it's almost evil. Something that can't be explained, but only embraced. The Outlaw Performance Fuel Additive. The Outlaw. The additive with attitude.
No one ever asks, do you want leafy greens with that?
I'll have a double cheeseburger, fries, and coffee.
Well, sometimes it's hard to eat right.
95.
That's why GNC's Mega Men multivitamins have a complete combination of 41 vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, herbs, and other ingredients. Because recommended daily allowances almost never come to go. Mega Men multivitamins, exclusively at General Nutrition Centers. GNC. Live well.
If this house could talk, it wouldn't tell you about the custom cabinets in each Fleetwood home, but about Coco and heart-to-heart talks. It wouldn't go on about our wall-to-wall warranty, but about afternoons with the Sunday paper. It wouldn't mention the craftsmen who make every inch right. It'd tell you about kids growing 2 inches in a year. Because at Fleetwood, we know the quality that counts most in a home is the quality of life inside. Fleetwood Homes, quality for life. See your Fleetwood Homes retailer.
The lookup trucks, customized with Lund accessories, like their owners. No two are alike. Running boards, hood shields, bed covers, and more. No matter what make or model you own, Lund accessories will make your truck as different as you are. Lund, you've got an attitude. So should your truck. Watch your favorite stars at the Lund Look 275 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race, August 23rd at Heartland Park, Topeka. For ticket information, call 1-800-43-RACES.
We're back to the Lukoil 250K here at Heartland Park, Topeka, Kansas, where Ken Schrader, who has 1 pole and 1 win on the 1998 Winston West season, is out. And our Bill Hennessy is standing by with Kenny, who has crawled out of his broken race car. Bill?
Ken Schrader was putting on quite a show for a number of laps out there. It looks like you were coming to the front for the final time. Ken, a cloud of smoke. What happened?
Well, I went to get second gear down there. It went away. Car was good. We've kind of just rode and rode and rode. We were having trouble with fuel pickup, so we could only run about 20 laps. So I wanted to get new tires and full of fuel. It would start sputtering. It would still run, but I wanted to get new tires and full of fuel within the last 10 so we could go. And we had it, and we was going, but it didn't.
Everybody thinks the engine blew up, but what really happened?
Transmission. I went to get second gear. It was there for just a little bit, and then it went away.
Tough luck here. Long way out here from Charlotte, North Carolina, but it's close by to his original home, Benton, Missouri.
And it's Kenny Schrader's problems that necessitated a full course caution because his car came to rest at the exit to the pits. This also gave them a chance to get Lance Norrick's car going again, and it was alternator problems. He couldn't get the car fired.
So the race leader and series points leader, Kevin Harvick, leads them back to the line. He's got the 85 of Kevin Richards, the 07 of Sean Woodside all right behind him, as well as the 40 of Tanner as they all fan out coming down the main straightaway.
And hold your breaths because we're getting down to the final laps and everybody's going to get a little bit more aggressive. And what a tremendous jump Richards got. He has taken the lead.
That was a huge move by Richards. Now, here's where they're really going to give those brakes a workout if you've got any left.
Kevin Richards' car is beaten and banged, and I'm sure Harvick is wondering what just happened there. I'm wondering if maybe he just got caught on the restart a little bit, because before that, Harvick's car was clearly the class of the field. And here's a battle between Gaylord and Tanner for the 5th spot.
And Tanner's got the position on the inside for the left-hand turn. Back up front as Harvick tries to regain the lead, and look at the two pulling away from Woodside.
And Woodside may be wondering if If he can get close enough, if I just let these two fight it out, maybe there'll be some contact, and maybe I'll be the guy who ends up getting to victory, because it doesn't look like he has the best car contact. Contact between the front two cars, and Richards goes around, and it looks like it will be just a single car incident.
Everybody just dove into the smoke. Nobody really got hard onto the brakes, and they all got through.
And all of a sudden, Kevin Richards goes from the race lead all the way back to about the 10th position.
Oh, and we got another problem. The 23 car, that is Brandon Ash out of Oregon. The Ford Taurus is sideways. Stay with us. We'll come back as this one is coming to a close in Topeka.
Tonight on TNN Motorsports, Texas Motor Speedway hosts the fastest cars in oval track racing. The IndyCar. It's high speed on the high banks with lots of competition. IndyCar racing, the way it should be. It's the Indy Racing League. Don't miss the True Value 500K live tonight at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. And it's only on TNN Motorsports.
Every time you start your car, you're waging a war against friction. The battle lines are drawn. Now, how are you going to fight back? Duralube Advanced Engine Treatment protects your car's motor like nothing else on the market can. It's like a shield against engine-damaging friction. Win the war against friction and get the maximum protection for your car's engine with Duralube. Duralube, tomorrow's technology today.
It's probably hit you a zillion times by now. You could use a bug flector. Protects your truck from bugs and stones, installs quickly and easily. Bug flector from Auto Vent Shade Company, maker of the original vent visor deflector.
Anytime, anywhere. For guaranteed protection against auto theft, nothing is more reliable than the Club Vehicle Anti-Theft Device. Because auto theft is no picnic. The Club, the #1 name in visible anti-theft protection.
Well, things have really gotten twisted here at Heartland Park all of a sudden. While we were away at commercial break, NASCAR officials black flagged the 75 of race leader Kevin Harvick. And as you can see, the Spears crew still pleading their case, but Mark is going to fall on deaf ears as we're about to go back to green.
Race director Mike Berlotti decided that the contact between the 75 and 85 car was Harvick's fault. So they brought him in for a stop-go penalty. They let all the cars pass by, and we're ready to go back racing. Harvick is back out, but how far toward the front can he get? Sean Woodside is the man on the point as we head down the final laps.
He is the man who also sits second in the point standings. He has not won a race so far in 1998. He's been very consistent, but if he can hang on, he will be the 5th different winner in as many races in the 1998 NASCAR Winston West season. But you know, Harvick using everything he can on the inside, on the outside, trying to fight, beat, and bang his way to the front.
And as we're in the closing laps, it's getting a little bit aggressive out there, but that's no problem for Woodside, who's already pulled up to a 15-car length advantage with one car off the course.
Boy, everybody giving it their all here in the last couple of corners. Woodside with a big lead over Tanner now, and one car way off in the dirt. Tanner off in the dirt as well. That's the 12 car. That's Cameron.
He cooked it too hard going through that one chicane, got back on course, but gave up a couple of spots. But look at Sean Woodside. He's not even checking his mirror. There's nothing to worry about at this point as he heads through the S's.
Sean Woodside making the final couple of corners. The man who sits second in the point standings will close in on Kevin Harvick, who has moved up to 4th. And Woodside will give Pontiac its first win of the 1998 NASCAR Winston West Series as he claims the checkered flags in the inaugural running of the Lukoil 250.
Second will go to Kevin Richards, with Kelly Tanner coming home a quiet but very strong third. And what a dramatic last few laps of this event at Heartland Park, Topeka.
And Kevin Harvick, who was the leader going into that last break and that last caution, got black flag, came back out, fought his way back up to finish fourth. So he will probably hold on to his points lead as they leave Heartland Park, Topeka.
And Sean Woodside, whose career is behind the camera as a camera utility in Hollywood, will step in front of the cameras this afternoon to get the winner's trophy and all that goes with it.
So for the fifth race in the 1998 season, we've had 5 greens, 5 checkers, and 5 different winners so far in 1998. And the first road course victory of the year goes to Sean Woodside.
And Woodside led only 10 laps.
Well, he led the right 10, that's for sure. Stay with us. We'll be back for more at Heartland Park after this.
This is one of those new Volvos with all-wheel drive, right?
Yes. It's our newest safety feature, designed to help keep you out of an accident.
So how come you don't put it on all your cars?
All our cars.
Like Subaru does.
Subaru.
Every Subaru we make comes with the safety of all-wheel drive. Every wagon, every coupe, every sedan.
So only one Volvo has all-wheel drive, but they all have cup holders.
Yeah. Subaru, the beauty of all-wheel drive.
Select road. Validating tires. VF Goodrich. Approved.
What kind of road can you drive on with VF Goodrich tires?
Enjoy.
Any road you choose. VF Goodrich tires. Take control. The look of trucks customized with Lund accessories, like their owners. No two are alike. Running boards, hood shields, bed covers, and more. No matter what make or model you own, Lund accessories will make your truck as different as you are. Lund, you've got an attitude. So should your truck. Watch your favorite stars at the Lund Look 275 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race, August 23rd at Heartland Park, Topeka. For ticket information, call 1-800-43-RACES.
Lights, camera, action, live from the electrifying arena in Music City, USA.
This is it.
The TNN Music City News Country Awards, hosted by Jeff Foxworthy. Performances by Alan, Trisha, Dana, Billy Ray, Leanne, Vince, plus more.
You're gonna love it.
It's the fan show.
The stars are here.
And you'll be there too. The TNN Music City News Country Awards, live June 15th, 8 Eastern. Only on America's Country Home, TNN.
Welcome back to the Heartland of America, Heartland Park in Topeka, Kansas. Sean Woodside is the winner. Let's meet him in victory lane. Bill?
Congratulations, Sean, on your victory here at Heartland Park. You've got a phenomenal record going, 19 starts, and this is your 4th victory.
Yeah, you got to take your hats off to the Golden West team. They prepare a car. We complete all the laps every week, and you got to thank Gordy and Roger. I got to thank Alan Kroll. He's helped us out a bunch this year. Hoosier Tires and Dennis Fisher for a great motor.
The race boiled down to just a few laps of shootout there following that last yellow flag. How did you view things from your driver's seat?
It looked like they got together, and there was a bunch of smoke, and I don't know what happened between Harvick and the 85 car, but we ended up winning, so we're not going to worry about that today.
Did you view it as your luck was changing at that time to somebody else's detriment? Or was it the type of race that you had planned on running all afternoon long?
I don't know. Kevin and the Spears team, you got to take their hats off to them. They're definitely the car to beat every week. And they had a good run, and we were a little more patient than he was, and that's probably the outcome that you have, us winning it, because I was a little more patient. I don't know that we could have run with him at the end there, but we would have gave it a shot.
Sean, Kevin helped you set up this car for this race, and then you see him go by the wayside.
Well, he helped me with the driving, the setup my guys do. So, but Kevin did. He took me around the track yesterday morning and qualified second and won the race. So you got to thank Kevin and the Spears team. Great sportsmen, love racing with the guys.
Congratulations from everybody at TNN.
Thank you very much.
Well, it was a great win for Sean Woodside, but it was also a great run for Kevin Richards. He comes home second and now is sixth in the point standings as he tries to move into the top 5. He's down in victory lane now with our Bill Hennessy, who's standing by. Bill?
Closing laps of the race, there was some contact made. Kevin Richard, he went around. Kevin, you finished second. How did you recover?
Just got back up in line and drove my heart out. I mean, I was awful upset. And, I mean, I just drove with, it was pure, I don't know, adrenaline. I didn't have no strength left, so we just went through, and everybody kind of got bottled up down there in the S's, and it was whoever could drive through the dirt the best is who came through there.
Considerable amount of damage on your car. Where did you get all that?
Well, you know, I don't know. I don't know where I got that left rear all torn up, but boy, it's pretty rough, ain't it? Kind of messed up that little girl sticker too. So, and I want to thank, I forgot to thank Winston. I want to make sure I thank Winston for everything. Thank you, guys.
Now is Kevin Richards' career best finish. He is also second now, just 2 points out of the lead of the Sears Point Raceway Rookie of the Year contenders. Let's check back in with Bill Hennessy, who is now standing by with the man who came home third, Kelly Tanner.
Kelly, third place for you. Does it surprise you with all the activity that took place in the closing stages of this race on track?
Nothing surprised me today, you know. I mean, we had a tough time even getting here. We had grief in our first day of practice, but these guys got it together on this Yoshida's DeLacroix Cookie Pontiac, and we went from 18th to 3rd, which is quite a feat.
What did you see from your driver's view in the closing laps of competition?
Getting in that chicane's a pretty hard left, and I went underneath the 12 car there, and we kind of just barely bumped. It sent me a little sideways, so I cut through the grass, and everyone had to check up. Of course, when you check up at that speed, getting in there, everyone's trying to make their last lap dash to victory, and they slid through the grass. I went through the grass, and we didn't really even gain a position. We went in there 3rd and come out 3rd, so no gain.
There you see the torn-up sheet metal of Kevin Richards' car, which soldiered on to get him home to 2nd place. But it was a bad scene for Kevin Harvick, who was black flagged due to an incident with that car. He is now standing by with his story with Bill Hennessy.
Kevin, a little question about the restart on the last yellow. What happened?
We were asked to the restart before I kind of jumped the start, and they gave us a chance. You know, they said wait till the sign. So I waited till the sign, and 85 car decided he was going to go a little early, drove over the side of the car, and we went to 2nd, went into the back there, skidded the brakes, got into the back of him, spun him out. Everybody saw it on TV. I mean, it's just, you know, bad deal for the Spears team, and that's the way it goes.
Did they post you for the start, or did they post you for bringing out the caution?
They posted us for the back incident back there on the start. I mean, I don't know what the deal was there, but hey, it's a good race. You know, we had a good car today, but not to be.
Well, as you take a look at the finishing results here, Mark, what do you think of this inaugural Winston West race here?
I think you saw some of the young lions of the Winston West Series flex their muscle today, and I think the future of the series is bright for all concerned, even Kevin Harvick, who is, I know, disappointed.